Welcome to This Week in Missouri Politics from our KMOS studios on the campus of University of Central Missouri, Warrensburg, Missouri. The first episode we're getting to come to a lot of folks in Central Missouri. We're very grateful that you've welcomed us into your homes on Sunday morning. And our first guest in the studio here is Senator John Rizzo, the Senate Minority Leader. Welcome back to This Week in Missouri Politics.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Let's start off. I mean, you're leaving Jeff City this week. You got to feel like a big winner, right? I mean, there's two people that left Jeff City, had to be smiling this week. It would be John Rizzo and Bob Onder. You came in with two members of Congress that are Democrats. You're leaving with two.
Yeah, look, we had a very concise plan at the very beginning that was to protect our two Democratic members, and we were able to do that through the process, the lengthy process that we've had this year, and we're happy to do that, and we're excited about that part of the outcome. At least I am. We obviously had some people that didn't think it was enough, and I respect their opinion and what they did, but it is what it is.
You had some changes that Senator Stephen Roberts wanted. You've been able to get those. I mean, I don't see how, if you're on the Democrat side of the ledger, with the partisan breakdown as it is in the Senate, that doesn't look like a win.
Yeah, you know, we have some people who feel, and rightfully so, that this is not even a 6-2 state. It's a 5-3 state. And I feel that way as well, but we also have to look at the numbers that we're dealing with in the Senate. And yeah. I think we really did a great job. You saw some Republicans vote against it. You saw some Democrats vote against it. And I think everyone respected everyone's opinion and ideas on it.
I saw the big winner was Senator Onder. He wanted a 100% St. Charles district, ended up with a 78 or something. There were some numbers that had it at 30%. He didn't split the difference. He won and got to vote against it, so he can continue the remarks about 7-1. I mean, how do you say he didn't have a heck of a week?
Yeah, look, I think that the Conservative caucus had a good victory again this week, and unfortunately, I think that bad behaviors continue to be rewarded in the state Senate, and they continue to find themselves in situations where their backs are against the wall and rewarding bad behavior instead of standing up to it. And obviously, we're on the opposite side of that. So I hope that we don't have any mimics in the near future because of the outcome.
Why would you not? I mean, I guess to me, in every industry, you're going to copy what works. Well, what works in the Missouri Senate is what has worked for Senator Onder. I mean, really, if you're a constituent of a senator in a state Senate district whose congressional district was just marred, you're wondering, why doesn't my senator act like that?
Yeah.
So they can get what they want.
Yeah, look, it's a lot. We always say it's a lot like the NFL. It's a copycat league.
Yeah.
I mean, really and truly. I mean, if something works and that's what's moving the train, then that's what you're going to have to do. And it seems that this year in the state Senate, even though we've been able to be successful on some stuff, the Conservative caucus has been able to be more successful because they've thrown wrenches in a lot of the mechanics of the Senate.
So, I mean, looking forward, it appeared that there was a couple different deals last night. There was one deal that moved some things around and allowed some bills that theoretically to be perfected. Well, I think the negotiations obviously went well into this morning and what have you. But I guess part of the deal of giving a very generous seat to St. Charles County is there'll be maybe Senator Gannon's bill on postpartum care gets perfected. I felt like in the room there was some relatively a meeting of the minds that some of these other pieces of legislation will move forward now.
Yeah, look, hopefully there is a little release from the logjam that's been happening, and we've seen over and over that good bills have been getting hijacked, and Senator Gannon and Senator Houx, who's worked on that bill as well, have been working great together in a bipartisan way, and I don't think there's a person on that floor that doesn't want to pass that bill until it was hijacked. And the Conservative caucus has no problem with putting people in tough situations to take difficult votes instead of just letting a bill about postpartum, come to a vote and do. Those used to be the easy, low-hanging fruit bills that we could do that everyone voted for. And unfortunately, they're being held up and stalled so that Conservative caucus can do some more really political, partisan bills.
But, I mean, candidly, why would they not continue to do that? And why wouldn't other senators that maybe were clear losers in the congressional map, why wouldn't they decide, hey, that works, I want to do that too? I mean, I don't see why would a senator not logically demand their priorities for anybody to get theirs?
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's shown that it's been rewarded, and I would argue that we've been able to silo off the two things that we talked about earlier this year, and that was the supplemental budget and the congressional maps, and those things are not only siloed off but done now.
Yeah.
So I would argue that all bets are probably off.
That's going to be an interesting few weeks then.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you look around this state, you have a district now, and Wagner goes from town and country to real country in Farmington. Pretty radical change of that district. The Congressman Luke DeMeyer's district goes from basically his home in Miller County into a bunch of the population of St. Charles County. The 8th district is radically different, more of a suburban district now. I mean, it could work out that Jason Smith becomes speaker and everything's great. It's a dicey gamble. Pivoting away from that, when you take up the next bill, after you do the few things next week that you've kind of got an agreement on is going to come through, but like when you go to that House calendar, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't see the same gridlock you've seen before. Is there any reason why you wouldn't?
I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. I know that there are some people out there that believe that we were able to get this really difficult thing done this week with the congressional maps, and they feel like maybe that's a starting point. I haven't felt that. And I don't believe that the Conservative caucus has felt that. I think that there are still a lot of fences that need to be mended after the last week that we've had, and some of the placating of bad behavior is rubbing people the wrong way, and not just in the Democratic Party. I think it's also in the Republicans as well. Probably more so in the Republicans,
I think
honestly.
That may be right. Let's talk about a couple of things that could be coming up. There's a sportsbook bill. It left the House. All the sports teams and most of the casinos are on board. Seems like something kind of simple that the government almost gets in your way. Like, if you're a conservative, what is it anyone's business what you do with your money?
Look, I think it's utterly ridiculous that I can go to any casino and lose $1,000 playing blackjack, but I can't bet on my Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl when they're playing in the Super Bowl, right? I mean, it is almost hypocritical. So the problem that I think we always run into is that we have a lot of people have a lot of different ideas on how gambling and gaming in the state of Missouri should work and what it should look like and what the taxes should be and things like that. But we got to make sure that these states around us aren't beating us to the punch and we're playing from behind. And so everyone, I think, in the state of Missouri wants to have some ability to bet on sports, especially in the middle of March Madness where we're at right now. And we need to sit down and try to figure that out one way or the other.
Let's talk a little politics. Senate race contested. Let's just start with the Democrat primary. A former colleague of yours, I would say one of the more successful senators I've seen in the state in the last 10 years, Scott Sifton's running. Again, Kuntz is running. Pretty great fundraiser, great story, pretty good politician. I saw a poll come out that showed both of them tied with Eric Greitens. Now, Eric Schmidt, Vicky Hartzer, it's a pretty tall order to climb for a Democrat. But when you look at that Eric Greitens number before these allegations, they were neck and neck.
Yeah, look, we in the primary, it's shown that Eric Greitens is almost bulletproof. And so, I definitely think that there are people out there that are taking a look at that race from the fundraising perspective and where they want to get involved and things like that if Eric Greitens is going to be the nominee. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's a Republican candidate that's going to beat him.
No, this week came out. Probably the harshest allegations I've ever seen against a politician. Eric Greitens has went through all kinds of scandals and women, money, all sorts of stuff. However, the narrative on all that was it's up to him and his wife. It's for his wife to pass judgment. It's for and everyone that met her in Jeff City her time there. I don't know anybody that was a detractor. Sure. Now today, this week, she came out and made some allegations of domestic violence, of child abuse, that he told her he took the photograph. I mean, it's just almost chilling things to talk about. I have to think, you deal with a lot of Republicans and what you do. It's not a party of just weirdos and sickos. Those type of things have to matter, right?
I think we're going to find out. But, the thing that kind of makes me step back a little bit is we knew who Eric Greitens was. We knew who he was after 2018. We knew who he was after the report came out about what he did in his basement with his last victim. And to just now, after these other really sick allegations of child abuse and whatever other allegations have been in there came out, and now you see people saying he should get out. Now you see people saying, he's done all these horrible things. We knew that. We knew that from the investigations, and quite frankly, when I was really proud of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle and ran him out of Jeff City. And that was one of the moments I can say as a Democrat that I was really proud of the Republican Party at that time when they said enough's enough, and they pushed him out of Jeff City and basically gave him the ultimatum: you're going to leave, or we're going to make you leave.
I mean, the question you have is, Is the Missouri Republican Party the party of Ron Richard, Todd Richardson, Jay Watson, or the party of Rick Raber?
Yeah, look, the fight in D.C. has been going on for a while, and it has started to filter down. I believe it has fully filtered down this year in Jefferson City, and the fight for the soul of the Republican Party is happening in real time.
Let me ask you this. I've watched Democrats, really out of your mold, out of the mold when I think of you, I think of a Jay Nixon, I think of a Claire McCaskill mold, I think of people that won elections. It feels like that mold is shrinking, and I don't see Missourians, there's a different kind of Democrat. I don't see Missourians flocking to it, honestly. I almost see politicians I used to see be able to win. Jay Nixon, I almost think that the national brand has made it to where even a guy in his mold would have a very hard time winning a race in this state. What do you do?
You know, I think that both parties are really searching for their identity right now. You're seeing people try to push to pull people to the far left and pull people to the far right, and some are willingly going, some aren't.
A question on that, though. I don't view the Republican Party as looking for an identity. I think its identity is Donald Trump, and I don't think he's necessarily far right.
I think that the lock solid majority is probably there, but I still don't believe that is the overwhelming sentiment in the Republican Party. At least I hope not. And I try to find the good in people, and I try to find that. But the bigger question for that is, if that is Donald Trump and Republicans do take the House back, if that is the sentiment, we have some bigger problems in the country.
I think Joe Biden's a good man.
Sure.
I think he truly has the best interest of his country at heart. However, the results have not been great. And that's going to be a burden to bear this November. And that's going to be a burden to bear, maybe not in the state Senate map as it's drawn now, but really probably limits your ability to pick up some competitive seats like Springfield, Lee Summit, where you have Republican incumbents running, but the national mood limits that. Some of those are seats you could maybe pick up 4 years from now, but you got to have a better national climate, right?
Sure, I would probably disagree on the things that haven't been going great. I mean, we passed an infrastructure bill that's gonna change how we do a lot of different things in this country. He has pumped money into the economy at a time when it was desperately needed. Unemployment's down to 3.5% here in the state of Missouri, just around there. I think he's done a fantastic job. We do have to get inflation under control. Yeah. And there are some things that we have to work on that are important. Having said that, I think that it's difficult in the state of Missouri for Democrats to pick up seats outside of the urban area right now. It just is what it is, and we're going to have to work on our messaging. We're going to have to work on reaching out to people and talking to them about who we are as a party and what we can do for them.
Senator Rizzo, as that campaign unfolds in the fall, you'll come back here, maybe here at KMOS, and talk with us about it.
I would love to do it. I always enjoy your show, Scott. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Our opinion maker panel, Mr. Warrensburg himself, Dan Houx, joins us after this.
All across Missouri, our new car and truck dealers are building strong local economies. When you buy a car or truck in Missouri, you're helping to support over 20,000 Missouri families who rely on the auto industry for good-paying local jobs. You're also helping fund our communities, schools, first responders, and our roads, because dealers generate millions of dollars in tax revenue. Missouri's automobile dealers have been the foundation of our communities for generations and for generations to come. The Missouri Automobile Dealers Association, the heart of Missouri.
For more than a century, the St. Louis Carpenters Union has shaped our communities. Through trusted alliances, we deliver skilled professional craftspeople while our business partners provide the kind of quality jobs that keep our economy humming. It's a blueprint that has worked since 1882. Turning Missouri into a right-to-work state stalls progress, wipes out jobs, and kills momentum. Right to work is wrong for everyone. Let's keep Missouri moving forward. Visit carpdc.org to learn more.
Your energy needs are changing. That's why at Ameren Missouri, we're not waiting on the future. We're building it with the Smart Energy Plan, advancing thousands of projects across the state, helping reduce emissions through cleaner energy sources, boost reliability with self-healing equipment, and better withstand storms with new composite poles. Moving Missouri forward and bringing us all a little closer together. That's energy at work. Ameren, Missouri.
Welcome back to This Week in Missouri Politics from the KMOS studios here on the campus of the University of Central Missouri in Warrensburg, Missouri. We're at Opinion Maker Panel time, joined by Jess Piper, candidate for state representative, internet sensation. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
From the famous political family in Kansas City, Ashley Bland Manlove. Welcome back.
Pleasure, as always.
Dan Houx, the family that founded Warrensburg itself. It's glad to be in your town, literally.
No, thanks for being in the district.
And Representative Kurtis Gregory, Mizzou's own from Saline County. Thank you for coming back.
Not a problem. Glad to be here.
All right, U.S. Senate race.
Yep.
Republican primaries. Been fun.
It's been fun.
Got more interesting this week. Wow.
It sure
I mean,
did.
you know, I hate to say this with an Eric Greitens, with some of the things he's been through, you almost don't take it as seriously. He doesn't take himself that seriously. But these allegations are directly from his ex-wife. He spent a long time, a lot of his supporters spent a long time saying, well, his problems are between them. It's for her to make these judgments. It's for her to decide. Well, she cast some pretty damning allegations this week. I don't really know how you really stay on that train at this point.
I don't understand how you do either.
Representative Kurtis Gregory, I mean, I know there's people. Remember when Hillary Clinton said she was a vast right-wing conspiracy, and it turned out, no, her husband was just probably sleeping with several women, right? It wasn't necessarily a conspiracy, just, you know, it was what it was. Eric Greitens seems to have a vast right-wing conspiracy, including every woman he knows.
Yeah, you know, the report come out, and I think that just summed up a lot of it. There's just a lot of stuff in there that's really, there's just no way to turn your head and look the other way on it. It's something that needs to be looked at long and hard.
Jess Piper, I think there's three types of people at this point. You might honestly be one of the most kind of simple-minded, naive Missourians in the history of mankind.
I am.
You might be, if you're a Eric Greitens person, you might be getting paid to pretend that you're a very simple-minded, dumbest person in the history of mankind. Or three, maybe you're a little weird too, and you're kind of rooting for your own. I mean, if you're still in the Greitens train, how do you justify that?
I don't think that you can. I've known lots of women like Sheena Greitens who have been through issues like this, and I don't think that there's any way that any person could stand behind him at this point. You would have to be someone who isn't paying attention at all and refuses to read anything and doesn't care.
I bet there's people that are there, though. I mean, I have to assume, you would hope that the people of Missouri are decent people. You would lose support when someone that he's claimed is very honorable, very honest. His supporters have claimed is the person who should arbitrate all of his previous scandals was her. When she comes out, and I mean, these are not small allegations. It's hard to even talk about. Allegations of physical abuse, child abuse, where he admitted to taking the photograph of this woman he was on trial for to her. I mean, it is the kind of thing you would never think you would hear about at one point a leading candidate for U.S. Senate.
Unfortunately, in Missouri, that's a pretty regular narrative. Maybe not with those type of allegations, but you know, Rick Raber made it to the House, and he already had those kind of allegations. So I really hope that that's just not a path that that party is going down. But I don't understand how he was able to keep his campaign account going this whole time since the allegations with him being governor. So I was appalled from the beginning, and I'm glad that people are seeing how bad he really was.
Where's the race now? I mean, you had Eric Schmidt, the Attorney General. He really took off over the last fall. Some of the lawsuits involving masking kids, some of the lawsuits involving county health departments. I mean, you could just see the numbers rise. He was obviously in second. I'm sure they'll have a fresh batch of polling out pretty quick. You have to think, I mean, good night. He probably is the front runner at this point.
You know, I think it's a close one between him and Vicky Hartzler. That's just my opinion. You know, it'll be kind of interesting what Congressman Long pulls out of this little bit of a message from Trump the other day. It wasn't a true endorsement, but
you're a businessman. Trump's a businessman. You're plain spoken. Trump's maybe more plain spoken, more blunt. However, is that Trump trying to give him a little boost, and if he takes off a little more, is that Trump saying he's my favorite one in the race?
I think it's definitely something that if it does take off more, he might lean that way. Otherwise, I think he'll go the other way.
Vicky Hartzler released a huge list of ag folks. I mean, probably the most impressive ag group I've ever seen in a contested primary like this, hotly contested. Where is she at? I mean, you would think Greitens supporters probably don't flock to her, but do they?
It's just hard telling. As you said earlier, there's going to be a group of people that continue to support him. And so I think he's still going to keep that certain base. So it goes, where does that 15 or 20% that leaves, how does that get spread? How does the Trump endorsement, or not endorsement, but strong words like, hey, I'm not endorsing this guy. How does that help Billy Long out? Do they go to Hartzler? Do they go to Schmidt? Do they go to McCloskey? Like, where's it all going to end up at? And so the new numbers coming out, I'll be really curious to see where they land at.
Jess Piper, I saw a poll. This is before all these situations. This said if Eric Greitens was the nominee, if it was Eric Schmidt, if it was Vicky Hartzler, Republican wins by 20. If it was Eric Greitens, it was tied. Yeah. I have to think that this would be, you have to lose support from something like this, or what kind of state are we, right? I mean, this is the chance. If Eric Greitens holds on and wins his primary, you have a legitimate shot, no matter how unpopular Joe Biden is, that Missourians just aren't these people.
Right. I mean, we have two that are polling right behind or right at with Eric Greitens, and that's Sifton and Coons. So I would think that the reason that Republicans are nervous is because they need to be. This is, something that would be much easier for us if Greitens is the nominee.
I mean, this is the shot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, if you have Eric Schmidt, you have Vicky Hartzler, this is a race that something's going to have to change in the dynamics to really make this competitive. But if you have Eric Greitens, you could elect a Democrat to the U.S. Senate.
It's really possible. I like to think that people in Missouri are intelligent and that they can see through the muck. And if they're able to do that, he no longer becomes the front candidate.
I mean, if the Missouri Republican Party and folks set for this, you probably can't raise the moral issues, right? I mean, you would look ridiculous, right?
No, you can't.
And so let's talk about something that's maybe just not as depressing unless you're from southeast Missouri. The Congressional map passed out the Senate this week. The district we're in right now changed quite a bit. You go from parts of like maybe Western Lee Summit all the way down into Douglas County. Carl Esslinger's in the same congressional district you are, and then over into a big chunk of northern Boone County.
Correct.
What'd you think?
I haven't been able to dive into it yet. It just happened a few hours ago. I really can't wait to have a better map than one that I'm seeing on the phone. and really be able to see some of these lines. But I think it's something that, they finally did get a map out of the Senate. Obviously, over in the House, we'll have to take a look at it and see where it goes from there.
The second district changed a great deal. It went from St. Louis County, St. Charles, got a little Jeffco. Now it goes all the way to Farmington. Very, very different district. The 8th district was pretty just mutilated down the center. When you look around the rest of the state, there's some very interesting lines. Bob Onder got an 80%, I guess 78% district in St. Charles County. He's got to feel pretty happy, right?
Well, that part of St. Charles, it reaches clear over to Boone.
Yeah.
So, it definitely changed a lot in that aspect.
I mean, Bob Onder, Sidra Onder wanted 100% of St. Charles in the district. He got a district that was made up, I guess, basically of 78%. That's a pretty good deal, right? You want Bob Onder buying your next house for you, right?
That's some pretty good negotiating talent. That is for sure.
I mean, you have to look at Senator Onder and think, well, if I'm a Democrat, this is the way to do this, right? I mean, you should attack everyone and you win. I mean, he beat him down. And
I am fully not of that school or that tradition. I feel like that is toxic and further breaks down our responsibilities to this democracy. So I do not condone those type of actions. And unfortunately, I hate when that happens because that further fuels the narrative that's being pushed that, if you're manipulative, you can win.
Yeah, the senators at Seaboard, they have a terrible congressional district now. I mean, so I love talking to you, rural Democrat, be a rural Republican now. Your congressional district goes from Branson to St. Louis. I mean, it is you've got a lot of suburban folks packed into southeast Missouri. I mean, total defeat for them, right? Embarrassing slaughter.
Sounds like it, from your point of view.
Well, I mean, suburban folks are great folks.
Yes.
But like you said, maybe they should be in one district and maybe not spread out all over.
Well, it's always been interesting to me that, since I've been here in the legislature, which is a low 4 years, but that, half of the population is really in Kansas City, St. Louis County, but the lines are drawn the way they are. So it definitely should be less than a fourth of us in that chamber.
Now, see, that 6-2 map, someone said Democrats wouldn't appreciate a 6-2 map, and there's Ashley already starting in.
And Senator Honor was pushing for a 7-1 map all along, and now it's a 6-2.
Yeah, I mean, the 7-1 people have to feel a little bit used, right?
Right.
But, I mean, I think the real goal was established. Do you think anybody from Southeast Missouri in the House will be like, wait a minute, this is terrible?
No.
I don't either. This comes out just like it is, right? This was a done deal when it started.
It'll be interesting. You never know who might disagree with it.
Let's talk about something that is not a done deal, and that's sports gambling.
Yep.
Everybody said there's no way, wait till next year, this is not going to happen. Dan Houx has been having these meetings for, 3-4 months now?
Started back in November.
What happened this week?
Well, we got, actually today, got Sportsbook out of the Missouri House, so it's on to the Senate. It's been a great coalition of 5 of the 6 casinos and all of our professional sport team, including our newest soccer team, the Current, out of Kansas City, and it's just been a great coalition.
You worked hand in hand with the president, I understand.
Yeah, oh yeah. The
President DeWitt, yeah.
Oh yeah.
The commander-in-chief. So how much more money is going to go to Jess's friends in education with this?
Well, as of right now, we had a little bit of a Democrat tax cut on the bill. A Democrat offered an amendment that actually cut the taxes from 10 to 8. So right now, it's just around $10 million will go to education, which is a huge win for education.
Yeah, sure. All right, what's chances of this actually becoming law?
You never know, Scott. I mean,
uphill?
A little
Right.
uphill, but you
got to think it's a little bit better though. I mean, if you had to Congressional map and you had to PQ a Republican on the floor, you have to think that that's going to be the functional end of session, right? Anything you do is going to be tough, and this probably doesn't make it. Now you're looking at a different last few weeks of session, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
What do you think? I mean, I don't understand why the government thinks they can tell you what to do with your money. If you want to gamble on sports, what's it their business? Right? I mean, I get that there's other legislators leveraging things, but just if you're a conservative, leave people the hell alone, right?
Well, I think Representative Houx said on the floor there was like 3.2 million bets in the state of Missouri on the Super Bowl, and it was all done, quote unquote, illegally. The state of Missouri wasn't gaining any revenue off of it. So it's just a win-win. Like it was being done anyways. Let's go ahead and make it our way.
Just seems common sense.
Let's get it done. Let's get some money into education where it's needed.
Not enough money?
It's never enough money. And I would hope that it isn't deducted from the budget like the lottery is. And
I'm going to take a guess. If it is, you'll be on it.
I will be on it. I'm paying attention.
With a minute left, Jess, who won the week?
Well, you actually took mine, and that's absolutely okay. But I'm going to say rural Democrats who are putting their name out there and filing for office, and it's something that really needs to be done. So they won the week.
Who won the week?
Supreme Court Justice nominee, Ketanji Brown Jackson, just to be able to hold her composure and have more experience than anybody else in the room, and still be able to have grace and poise. She's awesome.
Who won the week?
K through 12 found a new funding mechanism with Sportsbook.
And you for getting to work with the president, right?
Yep. Yes.
Who won the week?
Well, we talked about earlier today, and I think the biggest thing that did pass through, and we just talked about it, was the sports betting bill, and Representative Houx that carried it. And I know he's put a lot of work into it. Even starting this summer, I know you were having conversations with folks, and so it was a job well done of getting it out of the House.
Congratulations. I am going to say, I don't know how you can say anybody else except Senator Bob Onder. He's dominated session, dominated the month, dominated the congressional map. I would say there's nobody in Jeff City that's had a better day, week, month, or year than Senator Bob Onder. We hope you will have a great week next week by joining us next week on This Week in Missouri Politics.
This Week in Missouri Politics is sponsored by the Missouri Automobile Dealers Association, Ameren, Spire, and Sterling Bank.